Do your job, as Rocky loves to say. It's your job, isn't it? Why are you complaining? Do your job.
Yeah, do your job.
It's your job. I mean, Roy also said, like, the postman delivers his letters and he doesn't complain, he does his
Yeah,
job.
no, that's his
So,
job.
yeah. Hello and welcome to the second recording of the Al and Jerry Football Podcast with me, Jerry, and my buddy Al.
Hi guys, good to be here again. Good to have connected. Hopefully, you
Yeah.
guys heard the videos, the first video of ours, and thank you so much for listening to it. We appreciate it. We hope to do more. We hope to hear a lot from all of you soon as well. Cheers, cheers.
Yeah, exactly. I second that. Thanks for those who viewed it, even those who made it through 15 minutes and 20 minutes and, heard enough of what they wanted to hear. I think it really doesn't matter. I think we just want to, I guess we're just starting this venture to just try the best for ourselves and to just be as natural and casual as we can. And like I said, to just start this dialogue with you, whoever's watching, and the fans also. I think that's a big important thing. And I just wanted to take this time to respond to the two comments that were given in our last video. Thanks, Desmond, for your energy, mate. That was really good energy. Full comment in all caps there. I guess, yeah, we'll be putting out as much content as we can and putting out content consistently. I think we want, that is the focus of this channel. I think we don't want to just, put out one or two videos and sort of lose our way, but we want to try and put out as much content as we can and to try give you the best that we can. And also thanks to Mervin, one of my friends who's an Arsenal fan. Mervin, if you're listening, thanks, mate. You said AFTV is going to be lit this season, and I agree with you. I mean, like, it's been
It's
lit
always
every
lit.
season. Yeah. It's constantly lit. The fires of AFTV never get put out. The fires of AFTV are always fueled by, I guess, the club's sort of, I guess, the management's incompetence sometimes. There's always fuel to the fire somewhere, somewhere or the other. Don't you agree with that?
No, definitely. Don Robbie is lighting a cigar on a yacht as we speak.
Yeah, Don Robbie's got his Rolls Royces and his yachts and all. He doesn't have to worry anymore. I think he can leave his sort of like his some of his kids to do the work for him. His AFTV children. But yeah, just to speak on that briefly, I think obviously we know AFTV sort of emerged, I think 5 or 6 years back, I think, just out of the blue. I think Robbie, he said he had this idea basically just to interview fans after the games, just to get their reactions. He thought their reactions after matches would be very fresh and sort of, he would get like a very, I guess, an honest and just very raw opinion of the fans after games. I think fans after games, there's a lot of emotions running through them. And yes, it is a very reactionary sort of way to get an opinion out of someone. But I think it's the best opinion you can sort of get after a match, straight after everybody's watched it, after everybody's felt the emotions, the highs and lows. And yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, personally, I feel that what Robbie did, I mean, I'm not here to bash AFTV or make fun of them. Sometimes, yeah, it's nice to have banter, but I respect what Robbie did in the sense of giving a voice to fans of Arsenal at that time, giving a fans to just regular working class men who in other ways wouldn't have a chance to give their opinions on football, on their team. As you know, a lot of the media and news outlets in England sort of favor former players, former managers, and sort of journalists who have or who are held in high regard in English media. And I think it's sort of been a good outlet for fans to just say what they want. I mean, most of the time, they're very colorful with their language. I mean, they don't hold back. I think we are trying to be a little bit more filtered, I guess.
But it shows the passion, doesn't it? It shows the passion.
Yeah. But I respect what Robbie did, and he sort of opened the floodgates for a lot of fans to sort of speak out and just whether or not you are being harsh, whether or not you're just going there and trashing the team or whatever, it's also opened opportunity for fans to just speak out passionately. Ones who don't want any beef, they don't want to start any fires. They just want to, have this platform to speak and talk on. I think that's very important. I'm scared to think what those really hardcore, passionate fans might be doing to themselves. You don't want them to be taking it out in any other ways. I think this is a good outlet. So yeah, what do you think about that? About AFTV and sort of that movement that Robbie started?
No, I mean, AFTV, now that we're speaking about it, of course, it's nice. I think it's box office, and sometimes box office for the wrong reasons. Of course, if you're an Arsenal fan, definitely it's not nice. I mean, it's nice and it's not nice. Now I'll get to it in two sections. Of course, the first part, if you're talking about it, if you look at AFTV, Robbie at that time when he started off, right? Without Robbie, you wouldn't get so much traction for your Redman TVs, your United stands, at that time they were known as Full-Time Devils. Today Stratford Paddock.
Full-Time Devils.
All these top channels, even the Citizens and all these fan channels, because they were always around. Don't get me wrong, but I think Robbie and of course what his plans were for the Arsenal fans after every game at the Emirates, he took it to the next level. He took fan channeldom, if I may say, to a whole greater big level. And the best thing that comes from this, we spoke about how finances and economics can come into football and all that. He gave fans a really, really very strong opinion and voice. Now, sometimes those opinions are not always going to be, it's not always going to be fair. It's not always going to be nice. It's going to be colorful. It might contain profanity. But at the end of the day, the passionate fan and their opinion, the working class man and woman, it matters. That's what the club is built upon. People forget that sometimes. Clubs like Bayern Munich and all of these clubs, they have a very good relationship with their fans. But not all English clubs are like that, And I think what Robbie and Arsenal Fan TV has done is that they have given fans a voice to actually channel their thoughts, what they feel. Now, of course, when you do open the floodgates, as you mentioned, Jerry, you're going to get times where those opinions may be sometimes a little bit too much. Just again touch on this very prominent part of AFTV. I didn't quite support the Wenger out movement. I thought that it was a tad bit too disrespectful towards perhaps the greatest manager that Arsenal ever had up to today, at least.
Yeah.
And but having said that, facts are facts. Did the Wenger out movement work? It did, because that's what they wanted. Maybe it's not a popular opinion, but I guess in time, Arsene Wenger did eventually leave. Still, I don't believe, as a passionate fan with respect towards the manager, I don't think I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want to see that. But I think that all in all, the passionate fan has a voice, and Don Robbie has actually put this platform out for all clubs to follow. And well done to Robbie, well done to Arsenal Fan TV. I think there's nothing greater than a fan giving their opinions on the match, their football team, or whatever that concerns that football game particularly, because tickets are not cheap. I mean, we've seen clubs like Arsenal, right, and how they have to pay ridiculous money for away games sometimes.
Yeah, just to mention on that, I mean, one of the speakers on the Arsenal fan camps, he said that the cheapest tickets for the Arsenal and Chelsea game this weekend is £85.
There you go. So £85, that's a lot of money, So if you really look at it, people do this weekly. People follow Arsenal and their favorite clubs, not just your Arsenal, Man United, but also all your Norwich Cities, your Newcastle Uniteds, your teams in Division 1 even. They follow them weekly. It's part and parcel of their life now. So should they have a say? Definitely. And I think with Arsenal Fan TV and all of these fan channels that come by, it's good. It's good. I love fans that have a voice. I mean, that's why we're having this channel anyway, isn't it? Fans should have a voice, and well done to Arsenal Fan TV. But having said that, whether it does good for the players, confidence, mentality, because I'm sure they'd be they'd be logging on to their YouTubes, watching the videos.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
we know how sometimes confidence can get shot. Players like Hector Bellerin and all of these players.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, all in all,
I
positives.
remember Troops had this thing where he used to basically have ham roll of the weekend. So he used to call it one of the
Yeah,
and
I wouldn't want to be called a ham roll.
Aaron Ramsey used to get ham roll of the weekend quite often when he was at us.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's also. I mean,
that's a good point.
they're
Yeah,
human. They're human at the end of the day. So it's a difficult one, but and all in all, I still feel that definitely fan opinions matter above everything.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I do second that because I guess fan opinions do matter, but sometimes negativity can attract a lot of
Yeah,
attention as well. And sort of you don't want negativity or sort of that profanity to be the main attraction. You want honest, real opinions to be the main attraction. You want truth to be the main attraction, not how you dress up that truth with all that negativity and profanity.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
that is the main thing you'd want, just to be honest and to start a discussion and to start a dialogue. I think with AFTV, a lot of the questions has been, is the negativity sort of the biggest attraction of that channel? Sort of, is the negativity the one that's pulling? And there is a sort of a comedic value there. So I think, yeah, in a way, you have to be careful what you say and not become a clown, sort of, who's
yeah,
on camera
yeah,
and just, talking bad about your club. And with the Wenger out thing, I definitely think it did make a change, Definitely think it did make a change, but respect has to be given to Wenger and what he achieved with that side. I don't think any Arsenal fan could have predicted what he had done. He'd come from this Japanese team in a Japanese league, and nobody had known about him, and he had
yeah.
taken on some of the big names in that league at the time. Of course, Sir Alex Ferguson and Jose Mourinho when he came in 2004. I guess after a while, with the moving to the Emirates and sort of selling the big players like your Sami Nasri and your Robin van Persie, I think a lot of fans have started to lose faith in him, and I guess ultimately that was the reason why the protest happened and Arsenal chose to move in a new direction. And I think that is required for any team out there eventually to move in a new direction and not to stay stuck, with one person and one manager based on the legacy that is there. And yeah, I guess that's all there is to be said with that.
But I'll say this though, Jerry. I mean, you definitely want positivity, but I think you can't be positive like Thai. I think, isn't it? I think Thai is on a whole new level of positivity. Isn't it?
Yeah, men's trying to start arguments with Jamie Carragher and stuff. Man.
Yeah. Hey, Thai, if you're ever listening to this, Thai, I respect you, man. I think that
Yeah,
your
respect
positivity
it.
is off the charts. Honestly, people may have a lot of things to say about Thai's positivity, but at least he's original every single week, even when Arsenal loses, right? Win or lose, he's always positive. I think you got to command him on that as well.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
that's
He was
a whole
he
new
was trying
level.
to argue. Yeah, he was trying to argue with Jamie that Willian was not a bad signing, but let's not really let's not really go there. I think Willian is.
Yeah, he needs to work on his arguments though.
Yeah, I guess so. I think we all just need to check ourselves sometimes. Just because we have a
Yeah,
platform to speak, I think we have to be. I think awareness is key to what we're talking about, and yeah, awareness is key. I think you just got to check yourself sometimes. As much as
yeah,
you're always checking the players and checking the managers, I think self-checking is necessary from time to time. I think that's a big part of sort of having a voice out there. So yeah, I guess moving on from that, I think we can move on to this weekend's preview of Arsenal and Chelsea. From what I've heard and from what I've gathered, I think there is going to be sort of a fan protest in some way or another, whether it's walking out of the match or a protest after the match, either to the owners or to the manager. What do you think about that, Al? Who do you think here is at fault? Who do you think maybe needs to go for there to be change at the club? Do you think it needs to be done from sort of the owners and the technical directors, or do you think it needs to be Arteta? Do you think the owners sort of can get a manager, sort of comparing to Liverpool and Klopp? I think the owners there are tough to work with. I don't think they give him a
yeah.
lot of budget to spend with. But if you have a manager like Klopp, with his experience with Dortmund, I think even if you look at that Dortmund team, Al, I think that Dortmund team didn't have a lot of expensive players. I mean, if you look at players
Yep.
like Lewandowski, I think Lewandowski was gotten on a cheap. Players like Mario Götze and Marco Reus, Lucas Piszczek, Mats Hummels, Roman Weidenfeller. I mean, Ilkay Gundogan. I mean, that team, that Dortmund team that made it to the 2012 Champions League final, I think, against Bayern Munich, I think.
Bayern Munich, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Klopp's team there were a lot of players that weren't bought for big money necessarily, but sort of players that he found passionate and sort of managed to get the best qualities out of them. You know,
They
I
were
think
playing for the manager. Simple as that.
yeah, a
They were playing
manager
for the
like that sort of works for a club which doesn't have a big budget to spend. So what do you think on that front with Arsenal? Do you think there could be? Do you think a different manager could get something out of the management there at Arsenal?
Yeah, I want to support Mikel Arteta. I do, because I think that over the last couple of years, firstly, foremost, Arsenal's got to have a huge reality check put upon them because they are a big club. This is a big club. This is Arsenal we're talking about, and how they've behaved in the transfer market. I mean, I did hear that they have signed Martin Odegaard, right? It looks like
Yes,
that's a
and
done
Aaron
deal.
Ramsdale as well. I mean,
Yeah.
Aaron Ramsdale looks quite likely.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
there's a lot to actually recover, and in terms of spending, in terms of that particular team, there's a lot to actually invest upon, and that comes back again to the ownership, those making the financial decisions. What's the direction that Arsenal are taking? Are they actually settled in becoming a top 6 team at the moment? Because that's how I think, honestly, it's at this point, it's even difficult to break into the top 6. You've got teams like West Ham and Aston Villa who are looking to break into that top 6, to punch into that ball, into that whole top 6, division, if we may call it. And where do Arsenal lie? Honestly, if you look at their team, I still think that there are decent enough players to actually build a squad, build a whole unit upon. And that's where, again, Mikel Arteta has got to really, really provide the identity of Arsenal Football Club, because I don't see it. I don't see. Yes, I do know that definitely in terms of transfer activity, Arsenal's been, if not one of the worst, right, in terms of those of the big 6, in terms of spending this season. I mean, if you look at all their competitors, right, perhaps we could say Liverpool didn't really spend so much, but Liverpool's got a solid team. Liverpool already have a ready-made team, defenders coming back in, so on and so forth. Arsenal don't. Now they've got Ben White, which I believe that is a decent signing, but it comes back to that argument again. They paid 50 million for Ben White, and when you look across to M16 Manchester, the red team there got a certain French World Cup winning defender for 75 million. So if you're an Arsenal fan, you're looking at all those figures, all those numbers, you're going to be asking, what's the plan for this team? What are you going to do? What's the idea? Does Mikel Arteta have a say in terms of transfers? Does he not? What's the idea behind that? Because if he doesn't have a say, and this is what he's got to work with, then I sympathize for the man, because I do know that Arsenal fall short in terms of certain stabilities and strength, especially in terms of midfield. We've been crying out for a change in defensive midfield for how long? We know that Granit Xhaka, not the best holding players, still is in an Arsenal shirt at the moment, has the odd good game here and there, but, not enough on your whole 38 game basis. So to give a final point on this Mikel Arteta conundrum, I won't sack him as of yet. Of course, it's just first game into the season, but I'll tell you this, Jerry, if they lose at home to Chelsea, and it's going to be a crazy scoreline, your 3-1s, your 4-0 to Chelsea whatsoever, because Chelsea's got a solid team, and let's not forget, there's a striker there in that blue team which is raring to go.
Yeah, big man. I don't think you can't
big man's coming. Yeah, and
we'll get to that.
Yeah, the jury is going to be out on Mikel Arteta. So the way I would think he should approach the game, I think he should have a little bit of defensive caution. I think he should be looking to I wouldn't say go for a boring 0-0. I wouldn't say he should be as pragmatic because you do have to attack. You're at home, but I think it's more of a point of where he's got to say, look, we've lost our first game 2-0, and there needs to be some form of a mechanism to say, look, we're not going to be shipping in more goals, right?
Yeah, some pride for the badge, I think. At least
some pride for the badge. Some pride for the badge, and I'd like to see Arsenal do well on Sunday. I think they're playing on Sunday, right? I like to see Arsenal play well. I like to see them take the game to Chelsea, but I also like to see, more importantly, them having stability at the back. I like to see Ben White a lot more convincing in the red shirt. I'd like to see players like Tierney bombing forward a lot more. We know he can. We definitely know he can. I like to see a more confident Calum Chambers. I think it might be Pablo Mari and Ben White starting again. I don't know what's the situation with Bellerin, right?
Yeah, and with Gabriel, I think Gabriel is out injured as well. I think Gabriel would be sort of a first choice for Arsenal at the back there.
Yeah, but I'd hope to start Saka. I mean, if you're looking at taking the game.
Yeah, I was actually going to come to that, Al. I wanted to ask you, what do you think Arsenal's best front three would be? I mean, personally, I think I would go with Martinelli, Saka, and Pepe. I think that would be, the best front three. I think. Yeah,
I would go for the same. I think with your Aubameyangs and your Lacazette, I think they're still out. I don't think they're going to be making it this Sunday.
They're not. I don't think they'll be in the squad this season, unless there's a surprise. I don't know, but most probably, I think this is what we predict. I think the players available would be obviously Martinelli, Saka, Pepe, Balogun, and I think Emil Smith-Rowe will be obviously the central attacking midfielder. I'm not too sure because reports have said that Odegaard has been vaccinated twice and he doesn't have to quarantine when he's in London. So I think he can straight go into the squad, but I'm not sure whether
that'll be fantastic if he could start.
It'll be fantastic to see. Yeah, definitely. So I guess you'd go with the same as well. I think that front three.
I'd go with the same. I'm not sure how fit Bukayo Saka is, but I would look to start him. I thought having him on the right would definitely give Arsenal a greater outlet than say for instance having Balogun. I think you could have Balogun coming off from the bench. I think I'd put Pepe on the left, or perhaps Pepe in a more central position and have Martinelli on the left. But yeah, definitely I'd go with Pepe, Martinelli, and Bukayo Saka. I think if Arsenal are going to be looking to have a chance at winning the game against Chelsea, right? Who started off very well, who also has defensive stability. I think Rudiger had a fantastic game. And Alonso scored a beautiful free kick. Confidence is high in the blue team.
Yeah, what a left foot, man, that guy.
Yeah, I know.
It's always either testing the keeper or nestling like the side man.
Yeah. Fantastic free kick taker. So, Jerry, whether they start with the front three that we recommended or whether they do proceed with having Balogun up front and, of course, Martinelli and all these players, I want to see a little bit more from Arsenal. I think everybody would agree to say that Arsenal have a lack of quality players on the park, but you've got to play for the badge. I think one sentiment coming back to that whole Arsenal fan TV thing again, when the players play for the badge and they lose, your troops, your DTs, they don't crucify the players. They do realize that. They do appreciate that. But it's the problem when they don't play for the badge. And that's what's missing. So they've got to play for the badge on Sunday. I think that's my point.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think protecting your pride is a big thing here. That's all the fans ask. I think that's all. Really, even any neutral football fan watching out there, that you give your all and play for the badge, not to be sloppy with play or to take your time to track back and basically do the basics right. So start with the basics. If you can't play that attractive brand of football, at least go back to the basics, start with the basics, and chase every single ball. Like literally run yourself to the ground and chase every single ball. Because they are in a great position. Every single player that's out there in the English Premier League, they are in a great position, and who knows how long they'd have that chance, you know. So basically, just running yourself to the ground and doing your best for the badge. I think that's all they see, and I think that's what a lot of Arsenal fans saw from Martinelli and Saka last year. You know,
Yeah.
running
Yeah.
themselves into the ground, and I think that's all we ask. Come on, Arsenal players, like play for the badge, man. Just like run yourself to the ground, and they can't say anything, whether you lose, but still, just give everything for that match. 90 minutes. So, Arsenal fans, do let us know what you think about our discussion and possibly what you think is the direction of the club, where they should go in terms of Arteta, in terms of the management, or maybe it's just the players having to show a little bit more bottle, as they say, as Roy Keane loves to say. Do your job, as Roy Keane loves to say. It's your job, isn't it? Why are you complaining? Do your job.
Yeah, do your job.
It's your job. I mean, Roy also said, like, the postman delivers his letters and he doesn't complain, you know? He does
Yeah,
his job.
no, that's his
No.
job.
Oh, man. Roy is a treasure. I think he should be protected at all costs.
Yeah, no, I think I think he's a really cool guy to be around. I think the dry humor that he has.
Yeah,
Oh man,
yeah, it's brilliant.
not
It's
appreciated
brilliant.
enough.
Oh man, so many stories. I think we'll get into some of the stories. We'll try to find some of the stories for you guys
time, due time. Yeah.
in due time, in due time. So moving on to that match, I think with the preview of the Arsenal and Chelsea match, moving on to Chelsea. Well, we've got a certain big man back
Yep.
in the Premier League, big Romelu Lukaku to Chelsea. So I'm just gonna. So in his pre-match interview, I think he's fit and ready. I think Tuchel was so confident even after last week's game against Crystal Palace. He already was speaking about Lukaku being in the team this weekend. So, wow, talk about
I
getting
think
the
he'll
job.
start. I think he's gonna
Yeah.
start.
So regarding Lukaku, this is what he said. Maturity has been important. The former Manchester United forward said, I think I've learned much more about myself, setting higher standards for myself. As a player, it's been about becoming more complete, as the game in Italy is more different. The spaces are tighter, it's more technical and tactical, and that has helped me a lot. The English game is different from the Italian game, but for me, it's not something new. And looking at some of his stats last season, I just wanted to make sure. I mean, Men's had 40 goals and 12 assists in 56 games. Obviously, 30 of those goals are for Italy and 10 of it was for Belgium in the friendlies and in the Euros. You know, but 30 goals and 12 assists. I mean, I think he passed the Italian job. I think he did the Italian
Yeah,
job
no.
very well.
Yeah, definitely past it. Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think about that? I think his statement there, he says, obviously Italy is more technical and tactical compared to England. I think England, there's a lot more that's in the mix there. How do you see that transfer panning out? According to
I
what he
think
said then, obviously, before
I
this
think
Arsenal game.
yeah, no. I think if you're thinking of form wise, I think Lukaku's form, even when he was playing for Belgium in the Euros, I think fantastic form. If he brings that form together with him to Chelsea, then of course Chelsea are going to start firing as well. See, Chelsea's had a bit of a striker problem last season because Timo Werner. You know, I sympathize with the guy because even when you're playing football, even when you're playing futsal, and of course futsal members, you all will know what I'm talking about. When you're through on goal and you miss the sitter. I tell you, the feeling is even though you might just be playing futsal at wherever that may be,
Yeah.
but the feeling is horrible, right? I mean, and Timo Werner does this more or less on a weekly basis. Don't mean to banter the fella, but
Yeah.
they did have a bit of a striker problem.
Yeah.
He did score a few goals here and there, but
I mean, last season he did get, I think, 10 plus goals, if I'm not mistaken, with the
there was
Premier League.
decent
And,
numbers.
yeah,
Decent numbers.
decent.
Definitely could have been more. See, so of course with Lukaku, you're definitely going to get a guy who's going to put away the chances. That's for sure, right? But think I mentioned the same thing on our previous video. My only concern with Lukaku comes in two parts, right? Lukaku is a guy who feeds off service, which means that Chelsea's wing backs, Chelsea's number 10, Chelsea's playmakers in that team has got to play to Lukaku's strength. I think a lot of ways you're going to have a similar situation where when Van Persie left Arsenal to go to Man United altered their game plan to suit that man because that man was the real deal. That man won them the title, right? Now, if you're going to get Lukaku firing, you're going to play to Lukaku's strengths, right? And we also know what Lukaku's weaknesses are. See, so Chelsea can't be, not doing that, in my opinion. I think they've got to play to Lukaku's strengths. And when Lukaku was in England, when he was playing for Everton, even Chelsea first, and then of course Everton. Because before Everton was West Bromwich Albion, I think, and primarily Everton, Chelsea, and Man United. Of course, those teams he was firing left, right, centre, but not for the big games. Not for the big games. I think in majority of Merseyside derbies that I watched Lukaku play, Lukaku was always almost not relevant in the game. He would score.
Right.
There would be odd tapping here and there. But on Sunday, he's got a big chance to start off his tenure in that Chelsea shirt in a flying sense. Because it's a big game. It's a London derby, right? And I wish him well, definitely, but I'm not going to be too quick to say that it's a finished article. Chelsea are winning.
For sure.
And so forth. Sure. I think, when Chelsea signed Timo Werner, a lot of people were also ecstatic because he's a good player. Timo Werner is a good player. Make no mistake about that. But Timo Werner didn't quite have the best of first seasons. That could also happen to Romelu Lukaku. I'm not saying that we all want that. We all wish all players well. But you see, the thing is, the Premier League game is, and he said it best. In the Serie A, you're going to get space. You're going to get time. Space and time for any striker in the world. You're going to score goals. The Premier League, you're not going to get space. You're not going to get time. And teams are so competitive these days, right? I would argue that they are way more competitive than when even Lukaku was in Man United. I think teams today look at Brentford and how convincing they were last week, right? So all these points are definitely going to have Lukaku step up his game, but not just Lukaku. Like I mentioned, it's got to be Chelsea as well. So if Chelsea play in relation to Lukaku's strengths, then you've got a team, in my opinion. But Lukaku's got to put them away. Every striker's got to put them away first. I think that's most important. Yeah. So, but he, not to make early predictions, but I think Lukaku will start on Sunday. I also think that Lukaku will score. That's just my prediction. Yeah. Lukaku will score on Sunday. But I wouldn't be too quick to say 30 goals, top scorer, top of the league, all of these things. I think that's a bit too premature. But yeah, definitely. All in all, Lukaku is a fantastic striker.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that he would rack up the goals. My only concern is, could he do it against your Man Cities, your Man Uniteds, your Liverpools? But all the best.
So those FPL boys, if you could triple captain Lukaku for this weekend against Arsenal, it might work out. But yeah, I think you mentioned a few things there. I think with Timo Werner last year, he had a far from convincing season for Chelsea. I think definitely Chelsea fans were expecting a lot more, but to call him flop of the season, I don't think so. I think he still got goals, and his work rate is always 100%. I think a player like Timo Werner will constantly be running. I think whatever it is, definitely there'll be a work rate there. But the thing is, if you have, okay, let's say you score 10 goals in your worst season, what's his best season, man? That's what I'm afraid of, What if, because you saw him at Leipzig, I mean, he was a mercurial striker. I think he was fast, quick, lightning pace. Some people might even have called him a pace merchant, but I think he had the finishing in Leipzig. And if he finds his rhythm,
if he does. Timo Werner,
if he does find the rhythm.
When he was hitting the ground running, I remember he was starting for Germany. He was linked to almost every big club. I think he was even linked to Liverpool at one point. And definitely a fantastic striker. But I think coming back to Timo Werner, when he wasn't racking up those goals in Chelsea, at Chelsea, I thought there was a lot of tinker tanker as well. You used to see Timo Werner playing too much on the left.
Yeah.
I always watch Chelsea games and I was thinking, what's he doing on the left? This guy should be in the box, right? It's a funny one because, a lot of Chelsea fans, and to quote some of them, is like, for example, Rory from Chelsea Fan TV, the Chelsea Fan channel, he mentioned that he's not a big fan of Timo Werner, and he says he's not even sure if Timo Werner is a proper striker or not. You see, and that's a good point to mention because we do know he's a striker, but in the 90 minutes when we see Timo Werner play, he's on the left, he's on the right, he's more or less playing an everyman role on the top. Right now, you can't have your focal number 9 to be doing that all the time, in my opinion at least. Right? You see Lukaku playing on the left, playing on the right, giving crosses left, right, center. But Lukaku's always playing through the middle. Primarily, if you look at his heat map, he's always playing through the middle. Now, Timo Werner is not doing that. So I don't know whether that's down to the manager. I don't know whether that's down to even confidence. Poor lad, probably confidence is short. Wants to collect the ball deep, play on the left. All of these things, this is psychology. And sometimes it hurts when, you've been bought, great price tag, and, you don't score 5, 6, 7 games and, people start shouting you're a flop and so on and so forth. Because he did well at Leipzig, but maybe the expectations are definitely greater when you go to a club like Chelsea.
Definitely.
And that's why when Lukaku comes, right, he's got to hit the ground running because you've done it at Serie A. You had a great Euro tournament, and it's when you don't do this, when you don't score these goals 3, 4, 5 games, slowly people start saying, what's happening there? And what's happening with Romelu Lukaku? And things like that. But, it's funny because now if you're Thomas Tuchel, what are you going to do with Timo Werner? I think if Lukaku starts scoring goals every week, it's going to be difficult for Timo Werner, and that's going to be another question which perhaps we're going to have to tackle in this podcast over the course of the weeks. Is he going to move? Is he going to be sticking by at Chelsea next season? All of these things. But yeah, I mean, I think it's very clear, the intent of what Chelsea are going to, be putting forward with. I think Lukaku is going to be their main man for this season. I think otherwise they wouldn't have bought him in the first place. And he's going to get you goals, which is, again, begging the question, what's going to happen with your other striker, But I guess on a Chelsea perspective, Chelsea fans do let us know it's definitely a good problem to have, isn't it? Rather than having 2 little strikers, you have options.
Yeah. You don't want to have a shortage of options. You want to have bounty of options in that chance. Yeah, that's for sure. I think the big question is whether he can integrate Lukaku and Werner in the team. Maybe Werner can play off Lukaku and Lukaku can
that's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at a thing where Lukaku is just heading stuff behind and Werner is just running and catching,
Yeah.
Like
the
what
Giroud
Lukaku,
role.
yeah, like what Lukaku even used to do for Marcus Rashford when he played for United. I think there are a lot of times where he hit the ball behind. I mean, he either held the ball up and looked for a true pass or something like that. And I think Tuchel is definitely the right man to sort of make that work. If he can't make that work, maybe, there could be a move for Werner. But if he could make that work and he makes sort of a Werner and Lukaku partnership work, I think it would be potent. I think it would be really potent.
Oh yeah, that would be scary.
Yeah, that would be scary.
If you could make that work, that would be frightening.
Yeah, a big Belgian and a small, quick German. I don't think you'd want to see that in the Premier League. But yeah, I think if Lukaku can have a good season, I'm just going to put it out there. I think comparing to the other strikers out there, you hear more about Harry Kane, Robert Lewandowski, even Erling Haaland, but you hardly hear Lukaku being posed as the best striker in the world.
Yeah.
But if he does have a good season with Chelsea, touch wood if they win the league and maybe get another Champions League or win some cups and get some goals, I think you can definitely put Romelu Lukaku up there as one of the best strikers in the world. That's definitely a conversation.
Definitely.
Yeah. Do tell us what you think, Chelsea fans. But moving on, I guess from that to the next game of the weekend that caught our eyes, I think both of us, is the Spurs and Wolves game. Obviously, Nuno going back to Wolves, can you tell us briefly here before we wrap up what you think about that game? I think Nuno had a good game against with Spurs against City. I think he got the tactics right. So yeah, that would be an interesting one. Seeing him go back to Wolves, do you think that could be sort of the next step? I think him proving himself against his former team. Al, what do you think?
I think this is going to be a cracker because before we come and talk about Spurs, because Spurs obviously higher in morale, brilliant first game, and I thought they were great all round. They had fantastic defense. Lucas Moura was great for Spurs against City, and Son Heung-min, what a goal! But Wolves, I thought they were a little bit unlucky to not come off with anything in the Leicester game, in the
Yeah,
previous game.
definitely.
I thought they were decent. I thought that Raul Jimenez, I'm raring for him to go again, and this is going to be a great game because you've got one team who beat the champions and another team who's facing their ex-manager. See, so I don't think
Yeah,
this is a game where nobody wants to lose. See, and coming back to Wolves, I thought they were very decent against Leicester City. I thought Adama Traore had a good game. Raul Jimenez perhaps needs a few games to perhaps get back to its best before the horrific injury. And even the defense, Connor Cody and Roman Saiz, they were decent as well. So it's going to be a good game, and I'm looking forward to the tactical battle in midfield. I'm a big fan of Ruben Neves. I love Ruben Neves. I think he's a fantastic player. I
what a
think he's so
midfielder.
underrated. Yeah, top midfield. I think he's underrated. I think he would improve any of the big top six sides. Honestly, if you look at it, I think Man United should be going for somebody like Ruben Neves. Definitely, I think would fit perfectly to be just behind that Paul Pogba situation that we spoke about on Monday. So I'm a big fan. I'm looking forward as to how Wolves are going to be dealing with that Spurs onslaught, that attack. That I'm going to be looking at how they're going to be dealing with players like Dele Alli and your Son Heung-min's cutting in through the wide and all of the space. And of course, even for Spurs as well, they had a good game. They had a brilliant defensive display. I thought Tanganga was good, and how he's going to be dealing with the likes of your Raul Jimenez, your Prince Charles, and your Adama Traores and all that. And you know what? I think it might be a game where you're going to get a high-scoring match because both teams are going to be raring to attack. Wolves, I don't think they're going to be sitting back in this game. I thought they were very attacking when they played Leicester. That's why, again, I thought they were it was a little bit of a shocker that they didn't get anything out of it. I thought Leicester were not entirely up to their sharpest form. Jamie Vardy did score, but I thought Wolves could have come away with something. So I think I'm putting it out there. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think that Spurs, off that brilliant win against Man City, are also going to be raring to go. I think Dele Alli, let's not forget he's not been having the best of seasons before, and I thought he played decent against Man City. I thought he linked up well with Son Heung-min. I thought he played all right. And Dele Alli is another one because he came into the scene. Remember that goal against, I think, Crystal Palace, I think, where he took it with his shin and of course controlled it and volleyed it into the corner. I thought when he burst onto the scene, he was fantastic.
That
But
young
of
man
course,
is a sensation.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Remember that goal? That was I think one of the goals of the season.
Yeah, it was fantastic goal. Control and just
Dele Alli's goal against Crystal Palace, guys. If you could get a chance to watch that, I think that's
go catch it because this is a player which I think shot for confidence as well over the last couple of seasons. We want to see him do well. He's got that reggae thing going on with his hairstyle and
reggae man.
yeah, God bless, brother. So
God bless.
So I hope he does well, man. I hope he does well.
Yeah,
I'm actually looking forward for this game. If you're asking me, it's going to be a cracker on Sunday because you've got that at 9:00 Malaysian timing first, and of course then Arsenal Chelsea at 11:30. And
yes,
I don't think Wolves and Spurs are going to be a boring 0-0. I might have to follow my words if it is, but I think it's going to be a good high-scoring game, and because both teams are going to want to attack. And Nuno doesn't want to lose. So does Wolves, right? You're playing against your ex-manager. So
true that. So just before we end this, just to have a look at the other games, I think Liverpool are playing Burnley. I think they open the weekend with Aston Villa and Newcastle next, Crystal Palace and Brentford, Leeds United and Everton. I think that'll be a good game as well. City, of course, will be away to Norwich. United away to Southampton, and Watford away at Brighton. So those are the games for the weekend. And all the fans, if you are listening to this, please comment so that we can respond to the comments, and please let us know what you think. So that's all we have time for. So thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you again after the weekend of games. Next weekend of games. After the weekend, we'll do the review show like usual. So my name is Jerry, and I'm signing off. Thanks, guys, for listening. Take care. Have a good
Right,
weekend.
here's Al, and I'll see you all next week. Take care, guys.